I got a good question here about the spiritual journey, and it's about my spiritual journey. Apparently I'm on one. Nobody told me, but this is what happens. What has been your biggest saving grace during a spiritual journey? Are there any phrases or golden nuggets of wisdom that you're willing to share that are in your arsenal that you keep going back to when you're going through the darkest days? Thank you for all that you do, and Godspeed. That's from Fatima. Well, yes, I suppose so. I don't usually phrase it as being on a spiritual journey, and this leads me to something that helps. So somewhere between Islam and Buddhism. Let's try this. Let's synthesize this. So when I was at my lowest point in my life, when I was probably at effectively my most mentally ill, I moved to Malaysia. And I moved to Malaysia because at that time I'd been told that somebody had used, my ex-girlfriend's mother told me that her daughter had used black magic on me, a form of Malaysian black magic called Bomo. I won't get into the details of it, it's pretty gross, but she'd done a particular Bomo spell, a love-binding spell. And whether that's literally true or not is neither here nor there. It's not massively pertinent to this story. But it meant that when I went to Malaysia, I was specifically looking for somebody to help counteract the Malay bad magic with Malay good magic. So as luck would have it, through mutual friends in Kuala Lumpur, I was introduced to a kind of a shaman. His name is Pak Din. He's semi, he's a public figure. It's okay for me to say his name. When Jason Scott Lee, who played Bruce Lee in the Dragon movie from 20 odd years ago, he did a travel guide and he went to Malaysia. If you look him up, Jason Scott Lee and Pak Din, Pakdin, they spend time together. Why am I telling you this? Before I went to Malaysia and before I had this experience, I didn't really know that much about the Islamic faith and Islamic culture. I didn't need to. I mean, one of my best friends from childhood is Bengali and Muslim, but I just didn't study it very much. I'd read some of Osho's books about Sufism when I was like 11, 12 years old, and that was it. I was really interested in Buddhism because of my background in martial arts. When I got there and I met Pak Din and we started to work together and he started to help me to lift this curse, what I felt was a kind of a curse or I'd been told was a binding spell. Part of being there and part of having that experience was learning a little bit more about the Islamic faith. And I learned that, and this relates to Buddhism, and this will bring you to what I use and what helps me on my darkest days. The idea that there is no spiritual journey as such. It either all is a spiritual experience or it is not. There isn't a secular world, there isn't a secular life and a spiritual life. If spirituality has a reality, if it has a reality, it's not a discrete small component part of a larger reality. It is the ultimate reality. When I studied there, I learned that Islam meant submission. I learned that a Muslim is one who submits. I learned that you cannot convert to Islam. I learned that you can only revert to Islam, and that when they say in Islam that somebody is a kuffar, it's often translated as an infidel. But actually the Arabic etymological root of kuffar is one who hides truth in the dirt. He or she hides truth. They hide the truth that they know to be true in the dirt, in the darkness, to keep it from the sun, to keep it from light. And I found that fascinating because I was like, oh, this is an all-encompassing faith. And that's why when you pronounce your faith in Islam and you recite the Shahada, you have to say there is one God. There is one true God, and his name is Allah, which has an interesting etymological root, and it has a linguistic ambiguity in English because of the word all. Of course, in Arabic, al means the, La means God. So the God. It's not this God over there, that God over there. It's the God. Indivisible. The ultimate reality of everything. All present. All knowing. Indivisible from everything. So it is all one thing. And in English, of course, all means everything. Different etymological roots. It's a complete coincidence. Just interesting. I'm only mentioning it because it pertains back to this thing that I keep in my mind at all times, which is that it is indivisible. If there is a spiritual reality, then the spiritual reality can only be the ultimate reality. We can't play games with God. We can't play games with reality. We can only play games with ourselves. So, say a person says to themselves in their own hearts, I will now play a game with God. I will go to church. I'm a good Jew. I will go to temple and I will confess and I will pretend to tell the truth to the priest, to the rabbi, to the mullah, to whoever you're talking to when you go to mosque. But in my secret heart, I will hide from God what I really want and what I'm really about. In this worldview, you're never really hiding anything from anybody because you can't. There is no hiding. It's indivisible. So in a strange sense, and I'm not Muslim, and I'm going to say something with all due respect, I'm not a Muslim. I've said this on a TikTok recently, and it created a little bit of an argument amongst Muslims. By my understanding, and in certain interpretations of Islamic faith, because Islam is obviously not just one thing, there aren't all Muslims agreeing all across the world on exactly how to interpret the Quran and the Hadith and everything else. Different emphases are placed on different parts and so on. But by one interpretation of Islam, which I found fascinating, it's kind of like quantum physics. You say there is no God, but one true God, and his name is Allah. And therefore, he is the almighty supreme being that creates everything. You say, but Islam is the faith of submission. We submit. A Muslim is one who submits. But there is no active submission. There's no active submission. You are only because you are called into being. You are only because something higher than you called you into being. And to use Islamic language, if Allah decides that you are no longer to be, you will not be. And no one will remember you. You will disappear out of reality in a fraction of a second. No one will miss you. The life story that was written will just change instantaneously by his will, and you will never have been. You will not be, and you will never have been. And that's the submission. It's not our will that submits. It is that we are only because we are called into being. I might be losing some of you. Wait, stay with me. How the hell do we get from that over to Buddhism, which was where I started? Well, Malaysia did. Malaysia went from Hinduism, Buddhism to the Islamic faith. I didn't find that out until I'd been there for 3 years. It's actually a Hindu-Buddhist country that then turned to Islam after centuries of being an of being a Hindu-Buddhist country, in the same way Thailand, its neighbor, was. In Buddhism, there is nothing but that which is. Pompous, like Alan Watts sounding phrasing. You can't divide reality from reality. You can't play games with God. You can't play games with reality. If there is a spiritual reality, it's the ultimate reality. And that's what I hold to on my darkest days. Whatever is before me, however, our lives are strange and they're full of minute, weird, petty, incidental details that distract in the material world. But we shouldn't turn away from that. We shouldn't say, God is only in the mosque. We shouldn't say God is only in temple, or that enlightenment can only occur in Tibet on a mountainside temple with a big bell surrounded by people who are not your ethnic type with shaved heads who are chanting and, meditating and floating above the ground. That's not spirituality. That's dividing reality and trying to say that's spiritual and this isn't. When I was a kid, and I was deep into the Zen tradition, I always had the feeling like if Buddhism has meaning and if there is truth to this spiritual practice, then Buddhism should exist just as strongly in the north end of Birkenhead KFC or the center of Birkenhead McDonald's. Because I was thinking, like, what's the most profane, God-forsaken place I can immediately think of? McDonald's in Birkenhead. We have a Charing Cross, not the London Charing Cross. We have our own Charing Cross. And what's the most profane place? That's the most profane place. And you say, well, there could be no enlightenment there. There could be no Satori there. But if there is no Satori there, where should it be? No, it should only be on the side of a beautiful mountain in China or Tibet or Nepal or Japan. It should be far away. It should be distant in place and distant in time. There should be no Nike trainers. There should be no trash on the floor. There should be no cheeseburgers that kill you. There should be only purity and light. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This is childish thinking. Dharma, so Buddhism again, Buddhism and Hinduism, the Vedic tradition, your dharma, your duty, your work is this, what you're doing right now. This is it. What's the ultimate spirituality? What's the ultimate spiritual reality? This. With all its crudity, with all its misshapen, ugly, weird, distracting elements. You know, it seems petty, it seems silly, it seems whatever. That's it. If there is a spirituality, it's not divisible. It's this world and no other. It must be that. And that's what I hold to on the darkest days. Whatever the dark day is, I'm like, okay, so it's shit right now. Maybe I hate myself right now. Maybe I'm full of self-loathing and frustration and unfulfilled desire, which both Islam and Buddhism look at a lot. They look at the nature of desire and the nature of longing and what to do with these things and the way in which they cause suffering. And I think, okay, Islam, it's submission. That which is called into being is, if there is a spiritual reality, then it's the ultimate reality. A Muslim is one who submits. Submits to what? Submits to the will of God. Means that is summoned into reality. I didn't finish my thought before. In some schools of Islamic thought, everything is Muslim. Even rocks and trees are considered Muslim because they are of God and they are summoned into being by God. And they are there but by the grace of God. And when the grace of God, or if the grace of God left them, they would cease to be. As you would, as I would. We would cease to be. We're summoned into being, so we're all Muslim in that sense. We are summoned into being by God. We don't summon ourselves into being. Nothing else summons us into being. We are summoned into being by God. Nothing is profane. Nothing, therefore, there's no such thing really as being kuffar. There's no such thing really as being a hider of truth. That's a person who's hiding from themselves. You can't hide. If there is a God, an all-powerful God, or an all-powerful ultimate spiritual reality, who are you hiding from? You can't hide. Whatever your, what you turn your back, your secrets, and you're like, oh, I won't let God see this. How would that work? You're only playing a game with yourself. Which is why you have this interesting reframe where you cannot convert to Islam. You can only revert to Islam, which means you stop lying, because we're all Muslim. You stop pretending you're not Muslim, and then you admit it, and you go, yeah, there really is only one God, and his name is Allah, so I admit it, I'm a Muslim. And then you go, okay, now you're back in the fold again. Similarly in Buddhism, there is only one Dharma, and it's the Dharma that's put before you, that your daily reality is it. It stops the schism, because we can become schizophrenic, and many people who devote their lives to spiritual practice run the risk of becoming schizophrenic. They run the risk of splitting within themselves and splitting from reality and creating psychotic, discrete cells of reality that are sort of encased in a weird kind of purified perfectionism. But nothing in this world is pure or perfect. The only pure or perfect thing exists beyond this world. And we have to let go of it. It's one of the spiritual practices, it's one of the spiritual tests, is we have to let go of perfectionism. We are not perfect beings. We're not expected to be perfect beings. If you believe in ultimate spiritual reality, this is the ultimate spiritual reality that was created. Yes, it involves McDonald's, and it has the Kardashians, and it has iPhones, and it has 4K streaming pornography in it, and war and genocide and all of these things. All of the things. You cannot divide from that which is indivisible. It is either all one thing or it is not. That's why I hold to. And that's the most important spiritual lesson I've learned, and it's very hard. It's very rigorous. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of discipline to accept it, because what you'll see in the comments is a lot of people saying no, because the ego will automatically respond and say, no, it cannot be. But I say again, and I don't want to sound like a religious fanaticist, you cannot play games with God. If there is a God, the God is all that there is, and it's indivisible. If you prefer the Buddhist perspective and you say there is an ultimate spiritual reality beyond the earth, because both of them are like Christianity, Judaism, they say the same thing, Hinduism. Beyond the earthly realm, which is, let's say, it's coarse or base or perhaps evil, there is another realm that we should transcend to. How do we transcend to it? Through discipline. In Islam, there is discipline. In Christianity, there used to be discipline. In Judaism, there are disciplines. Why? Because we have to transcend through discipline to the realm beyond this realm. That's the perfect realm. And so, those are the things I hold to. It's very hard. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of humility. But whatever it is you're going through right now, it means that you, to use the Marshall Linehan perspective or the Jocko Willink perspective, you take extreme ownership of it. You radically accept it. All of it, every single part of it. No excuses, no prevarication. It is all one thing, and it is all your dharma. It is all your spiritual practice here and now, nothing else. It's not in the past, it's not in the future, it's not far away, it's not in the temple, it's not in the mosque, it's here now, or else we are hypocrites and we do not believe at all. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your attention. Hope that was useful, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time. Okay folks, the new course, Unplug from the Matrix of Narcissistic Abuse, is out now, and if you're interested in finding out more about that, please click the link below.